Welcome back to The Edge. Google Search Console drops page experience reports. Ads are now being seen in Google AI overviews. WP Engine intensifies some legal disputes with Automattic, and the DOJ is pushing for a sell-off of Google's Chrome browser. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of November 18th here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
Hey, this is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics. We're covering SEO and digital marketing news each and every week, separate from our weekly interview series to get more news to you as quickly as we can. Some hot news this week, and thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Check out all the news over at edgeofthewebradio.com, all the shows at edgeofthewebradio.com. This is the Site Strategics digital marketing news desk of Edge of the Web. Proud to have Site Strategics as the title sponsor of this show. We're one of the top SEO companies in our Midwest. Check out what we do here because we're consummate learners. That's the reason for this show. Always trying to keep our powder dry and our swords sharp. I probably shouldn't be using those type of violent metaphors, but I'm going to keep on doing it. Joining me this week to get her take on the news is Lidia Infante, head of SEO over at SurveyMonkey. Lydia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me back. I swore a lot the last time.
yeah, we did. I think that was one of the more reviewed shows, if I could say so. It's always great to be able to talk to you. You're so fun, and you're also. We had to find this window of time to be able to get you on board here because you're soon going to be out of pocket for a little while, aren't you?
I am. I'm becoming a mom in 3 weeks, but babies don't have calendars, so if I go into labor while we're recording, I'll just have to go. I'm just no indication that this is going to happen.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, we got to test your commitment here. If something happens, you got to still stay with us on the news until we get to the berry blast. Then we'll let you go. I'm just saying.
I understand.
Well, congrats. Early congrats on being a mom. It's fantastic. And also congrats on being head of SEO over at SurveyMonkey. What's happening over at SurveyMonkey that you can share?
Oh, that I can share very little, but I guess I can tell you I've made some hires. I have 2 new people in my team who are absolutely crushing it and doing incredible work. And one of the latest things, just to show you how agile and incredible this team is, one person in my team, we've shared an article that I think was coming from SEJ around compression scores and how compression scores can be used to identify spam and identify low quality content. Shared the article, and within half an hour, this person had run an analysis that found a correlation between high compression scores and low traffic within our site. So now we have one more data point to help us prioritize our content audit and fix it all. But the correlation is very strong.
Oh, wow. Very cool. And SurveyMonkey for the
score, the less likely it is that you're getting traffic, organic traffic to the pages.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And for those, everybody should know what SurveyMonkey is by this time, but it's a fantastic tool to be able to create custom surveys, integrate with a lot of different applications, right? So if you want to give a quick promo, go ahead.
It's an amazing platform for survey and form creation, completely customizable. We have a new feature around Build with AI, and it's based on the learnings of our research team. So it helps you create surveys that are very scientifically accurate to the answers that you're trying to get, but also they happen much faster.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. Excellent. Well, certainly go check out SurveyMonkey. Hey, we're going to jump into some news with you here. Why we have you? Wanted to make sure that we got a hold of you before you went on maternity leave. Hey, first news article from Search Engine Land by Barry Schwartz. Google Search Console is removing the page experience report. Google said we decided to remove this page to reduce unnecessary clutter with Search Console and simply navigating to this information. So this page experience report is relatively new, all things being equal, a couple of years in Search Console. And we knew it was coming. Google was telling us in April 2023. Now the time has come for Google to remove it. In fact, we no longer see it in the report as of right now. Barry says that removing the report, in his opinion, is not just to reduce clutter, but there's tons of tools there, and you don't need to click on it if you don't want to. But it is there to help owners, creators, SEOs, and others to focus more on what matters with Google search and SEO and less on what does not matter. So, page experience report, as we remember it, right, was it was being able to see the good, bad, the ugly of page experience, user experience, and the like. Core Web Vitals is still there, but you were just talking about compression, correlation, and user experience. Lydia, what are your thoughts about this disappearing from our ecosystem of signals that Google shares with us of how to understand our own website?
It seems like this page was a very brief summary of, are you on HTTPS and what are the number of URLs that you've gotten poor or needs improvement divided by desktop and mobile. That's stuff that you can get just as easily on the
Yep.
HTTPS report and the Core Web Vitals report. I personally think it's a better idea. I can't say I ever used the page experience report much because with the Core Web Vitals report, you can see how your scoring of URLs evolves over time. And if I want a quick glance on my GSC as to how's my web performance doing, really all I want to see is, has something unexpected happened that has impacted my web performance that I wasn't aware of.
Understood. Understood. It did give us the perspective of mobile and desktop, and we also understood that mobile first indexing was par for the course for a number of years now. And just being able to understand the differences between the desktop experience and mobile experience, although it wasn't really giving us sizable guidance, it was still giving us a signal back. And in Google Search Console, we're always wanting to hear what Google wants to share with us, right? Crawl stats, HTTP, Core Web Vitals, as well as all the rich snippet tools that are there. Those always are very valuable. Anytime that Google gives us a signal, an actual signal, not general statements of things, but actual signal about your website, the better. And I'm kind of sad about the loss here because it's just one more aspect that Google has been sharing over time to just give us feedback on the site itself. So hopefully they'll find more signals that they can give to us, not only just search visibility and the snippet availability tools, but also just because we understand page experience is a key factor, not just speed, but how people are actually interacting with the website. We know that that is factor of ranking. I'm just going to qualify it there, right? Are users experiencing your site well? I'd love to see this evolve into something different, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's other ways. When Google came out with the Core Web Vitals, they were trying to find what are the metrics that can predict delight or frustration for users. But I think there's other things here that we could take a little bit further. And I don't know, I don't want to commit to saying what I would be measuring, but I find that expanding upon what a good web experience is would be a great idea. Especially if we're
Absolutely.
talking about stuff like accessibility is something that I would want to start getting signal back from Google around color contrast and all of the accessibility assessments that you can pass or not.
You know, an idea here, you're familiar with Microsoft Clarity and other equivalent platforms that are out there like Hotjar. It would be great if we could actually see some of that type of information coming in through Google Search Console. And maybe that's more specific in Google Analytics, but just being able to understand rage clicks and areas where there is that frustration. That's usability as well. That's wonderful signals to actually understand how people not only are getting there, but also what they're expecting and where they're dropping off. I don't know, maybe that's just wishful thinking to see that in a Google Search Console report, but I can dream, can't I?
We can all dream. I think it would be amazing to have it. And they must care about it, right? Because
Yeah.
the percentage of people that are using the internet and our websites with some assisted technology is much higher than what we probably expect. So in the overall impact, that our website has on our overall user base, we're actually dealing with accessibility is much more important than we probably
Right.
expect.
No, I'd give you that. Absolutely. All right. So another article from Search Engine Land from Anu Adegbola. Google AI overviews ads are now seen on mobile search. And we actually, last time you were here, we never talked about AI, I don't believe, but obviously AI overviews are in the ecosystem. Google AI overviews ads officially launched last month in the US, and we've seen a few examples of them. Here, and there's a screenshot of, if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're listening to us, go over to YouTube, screenshot of an AI overview ad. It's listed as sponsored, and it's got a visual, it's got an image along with the ad text itself. Screenshot showed a paid listing integrated into the AI overviews. Yes, they're expanding the real estate even more with these additional ads. So you can find them in the U.S. right now, and they're limited to mobile search results. And Anu says availability may still be in the testing phase, so not all users will see them immediately. First take, I got to ask you about your thoughts around AI overviews and some of the consternations that SEOs have because it's pushing down those 10 blue links even further. So first, what are your thoughts about AI overviews, for or against?
Oh my God. In general, my body says against, but I think now that we are seeing ads in the wild,
Yeah.
we're going to have to accept it and be
Yeah.
for it. And there's like several data points and several discussions that have happened in the community around AI overviews. Are they here to stay? Are they not? Generative AI is still marketed as experimental, of course. But one of the main signals that made us suspect that maybe they weren't going to stay was the fact that they were pushing down ads. Therefore, they were pushing down monetization for Google. And usually Google's going to do what's best for stakeholders. So as an industry, I think we had some hope that they were eventually going to go away, like many of the things that Google has produced. Another reason that we had to think about it potentially going away was really, really bad results telling you to eat rocks or to add glue to your pizza, right?
Yep.
There was a lot of lack of clarity around how these were being created, and Lily Ray did incredible investigation around that. And we could see that it looked like the overview was generated based on the corpus of knowledge indexed on Google, and then references to it were added after the fact,
Right. Right.
which led to Google referencing 404 pages, broken pages, or pages that really did not mention anything at all about what they were like saying on the AA overview. But that looks like it's happening less and less. However, there was like the indexing of Forbes advisors and some other parasite SEO manual penalties that we've seen in big media, where they're still showing up for AI overviews. So it looks like there's a latency between the normal index and the AI overview index. It looks like there's still very much a work in progress, but the moment that you put ads in there, you can kind of count on them to stay.
Absolutely. There's a permanence there. I'm just concerned about the additional real estate. Not only, hopefully, there's a good deal of control for the advertiser on where they want those ads to go, because those overviews can get a little bit sideways on, you may not want your brand next to this particular reference. So understanding how we can direct ads in certain areas and not. Very similar to like display ad network of just pushing back on certain demographics or certain types of content, right? I'd love to understand what we have control of from an advertiser standpoint, because you really don't want to be paired up with some sort of controversial AI overview and your ads showing up right there. You could have some negative branding unforeseen by the advertiser,
Absolutely. It makes me also think about the impact that it has on us as SEOs. There's been a couple of studies come up. One was from the head of search at Bing. I only remember his Twitter name. I think his name is Fabrizio. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Fabrice, yeah.
Thank you. So he said that traffic going to websites from AI overviews was likely to stay longer, engage more, so therefore like more likely to convert, more likely to be profitable traffic. But then there's another study around the CTR potential or traffic potential in SERPs with AI overviews in them that says that we have 8 times less traffic available on average. I think this study was from Ahrefs. 8 times less traffic available on average if AI overviews are on the SERP, which means something that the team at SparkToro has been banging their drum about for years now, zero-click content, might have to be our new area of focus. I think that's going to create a bit of a divide into who are the SEOs that came into SEO from a marketing perspective or from a user psychology perspective, and who came in there from a let's buy a bunch of links and make a bunch of content with a specific number of keywords in it. We're going to be challenged as marketers much more than we have before. And I think that's what's next for us in the era of AI.
Yeah.
I low-key feel like one of the other concerns that we were having, like not just as an industry, but as a society, was the amount of consumption, like carbon consumption, required to deliver all of those AIO results that don't necessarily add a lot of value over what was already there. But as these AIO results have gotten better, they add more value. And Google has announced that they reduced the computing power needed for those AI overviews, but by 90%, I believe.
Oh yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
concerned that we're burning the planet now. However, climate change.
Yeah. There's a lot there. There really is. There's also some discussions. I think Microsoft is leading with some processor power discussions, and they're kind of getting into an untapped level of development where there could be some unlimited processor power, which was really scary. Just the phrase there, because how in the world can you actually not have limits to something? But the point being is, I think we are absolutely evolving the chipsets that are actually used for AI generation to such a high degree that it's going to be a lot easier to be able to render these things. But the point is we are going to be if we're not already, in a new baseline of what organic search really is constituting. And the rank tools need to be able to show us where we're visible in these AI overviews with regularity and predictability. But on top of that, we're going to have to all suck it up and realize that what we used to have, it will never be there again. And there's no trying to get to that higher degree. We now have a new plateau of 10 blue links that is outside the first scrolls of mobile and the first scrolls of desktop. It's challenging, to say the least, for the SEO industry.
It reminds me of the very first time I went to an SEO conference. It was Brighton SEO. And the first speaker I ever saw was Izzy Smith. And she was trying to convince the audience about why ranking on featured snippets was good. And now it seems so obvious. I wonder if we are about to go through the same learning as an industry.
That's a really good throwback. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Is that it's not new, to quote Barry. It is another featured snippet, and we just have to understand the value of that placement inside of AIO, even if it's not a linear point of transaction or visit to a site. What does the impact of that from a brand standpoint bring to the equation, and how do you track that? Those are conversations that we're eager to hear and have here on this show. Hey, I do want to take a quick pause and reference our title sponsor, Site Strategics. Here's a question. How do you get authoritative subject matter expertise that we know Google's looking for? Learning from your clients, always the place to actually go. But organizing a well thought through interview process is time consuming. Well, that's what we've actually established as a process here at Site Strategics. We developed a SME interview process that's backed up by our years of interview experience, as well as SEO research and buyer's guide, our buyer's journey, persona identification. We can bring all this in as an SEO SWAT team, extracting some incredible knowledge, voice, and passion from the SMEs that you would like us to interview. So we can deliver a targeted series of questions and goals during the interview, work organically with some great conversations, and be able to have a set of deliverables curated from that interview that go into video content, audio content, transcripts, blog posts, structural content, social. This is all the untapped knowledge of your subject matter experts. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, just go over to sitestrategics.com. Give us a shout, and we're happy to actually talk to you and have a free consultation and show you what we can do and some of the successes that we had with our clients about just this process. So remember, it's not you, it's me. There we go. All right. From Search Engine Journal, Lidia, I want to see what your take would be on this. WP Engine escalates the legal battle with Automattic and Mullenweg. WP Engine escalated its lawsuit, citing Automattic's WP Engine tracker website as evidence of harm and exposing customers to cyber crimes. So check this out. Now, if you've not heard our show here recently, WP Engine and WordPress, Automattic is the parent company, specifically Mullenweg is the CEO, Matt Mullenweg. Literally, there's been a legal battle here over the last several months where he stopped allowing any WordPress site that was hosted on WP Engine to actually even access the repository of plugins and theme updates and themes to those customers that are on WP Engine, because they made assertions that they were not contributors, quote unquote, to what was expected in the contributor marketplace with WordPress. Now, what the financial requirements were, initially, we don't know, but they were expecting $10 million from WP Engine, and this has all gone into a lawsuit, and now WP Engine has subsequently escalated it with referencing this WP Engine tracker website, which was literally showing the exodus of client or websites, alleged exodus of domains leaving WP Engine since August, I believe. And again, we talked about this on the show before of, okay, it was this because of this legal scenario here, or the access to WP or WordPress's repository, or is this just evidence of people not satisfied with WP Engine? And that's the actual argument being faced in this legal battle, is that WP Engine is saying this is evidence of intent to harm WP Engine and exposing customers to potential cyber crimes. The updated complaint incorporates recent actions by Mullenweg to further strengthen their case. And there's been a lot of crap that's been going around. Mullenweg kicking people out of the WordPress Slack environment and the like. There's a number of different additional amended points in the complaint itself. One in particular, Lydia, this is a case about abuse of power, extortion, and greed. Says the legal complaint, stating in general terms here, grows progressively specific by introducing evidence of how Automattic and Mullenweg continue with their bad acts unabated for the purpose of harming WP Engine. All right, so there's the setting right here. Have you tracked this legal battle and the back and forth between these two behemoths?
Yes, I love the drama when I'm not part of the drama. So I've been reading up on this so much. I find it so interesting. And at first I looked in kind of like a little bit of like cringe and horror, right? There was this conversation around the use of WP as a trademarked thingy that in Automattic's words was confusing to users that it wasn't officially WordPress. Now, Automattic is dealing with WordPress.org and WordPress.com. One is the open source, free to use for everybody, and the other one is like the one that they haven't used for profit, right? So if you're worried about users confusing what is the open source project of WordPress and a for-profit enterprise, I would probably clean my side of the street first before coming for anybody else. But then I found it so outrageous the way that they just like disconnected clients of WP Engine from being able to automatically make updates to their sites, because that endangered their sites. And that was very clearly harmful to WP Engine. And that seemed petty, right? Like, I have no skin in the game whatsoever. I like WordPress very much as a community and as a product. Core WordPress is beautiful, and I think it's still one of the spaces in which the internet conserves their original point, which was share and collectively build.
Right.
So it felt incredibly petty. It felt incredibly like they have no PR, and there's no PR department here. And then it felt like there's no HR department here. And then it felt like there's no compliance or legal. And I am starting to suspect that Automattic is just this fella without any oversight, which also made me concerned that, like, how is the main engine of the internet controlled by one person without any oversight? Will the Slack kickoffs start happening? I thought to myself. The canary in the Slack channel is Jono Alderson. If someone's able to kick this man out, it means they have absolutely no regard for the. Sorry, I didn't mean to be talking shit this much, but here we are. Has absolutely no regard for the quality of the contributions that have been made to the core product. And when he was ultimately kicked out, because obviously Jono wasn't gonna like stay quiet and play nice, it just felt like there's no actual care for the actual thing that makes WordPress beautiful. And there is no actual oversight over there. If I was WP Engine's lawyer, first, I don't have a law degree, so they'd be kind of fucked. Secondly, if Automattic was bragging about how people were leaving my business after they've just worsened my business, I'd be very content to show this to a judge. Additionally, I would say SEOs seem to be a lot more invested in this drama than developers. My husband has no idea. He does not keep track of this, and I like update him on it. But I
Yeah.
also there's like a very very well loved SEO whose partner is WordPress developer. And the first thing I did when I met her, I was like, "Oh my god, what do you think about the drama?" And she's like, "I have no idea. My partner tells me about the drama because I don't follow it." So I think for some reason, SEOs are a little over invested in this WordPress drama.
Can we call it the Real Housewives of web software or something? I don't know.
I think, well, let's do a documentary after or something.
Oh, yeah, oh my gosh. Well, this legal battle actually is concerning, this new amendment, because by what Automattic did with this law tracker, or this WP WordPress engine tracker, which is not really WP Engine, right? But it is referencing all of WP Engine's clients that are leaving. There was also a download that you could actually get from that site, and it included sensitive information that's not publicly available and actually can cause harm to those customers, like not only the domain names, including the development, test, and pre-production servers. Many of that were not intended to be accessed publicly and contain sensitive or private information. Many of the servers were not intentionally indexed or otherwise, says the amendment here, and because these are the servers are not secure or safe or production ready, and not intended to be accessed by the general public. So what a mess! Actually, sharing that type of information as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
And the harm, who's going to feel the harm? It's probably going to be if Automattic goes broke, the core of WordPress users. So the internet. It's messed up.
yeah, it really is.
my point last week was we don't know if those people would have left anyway. We don't know how many people leave. It has no context, no baseline as to who leaves and who comes back, who's joining. But I didn't even think of this last week, Lydia. You make such a great point. Like, they went and hurt WP Engine's core business and then pointed a finger and said, look at all the people leaving. Like, yeah, no kidding. You hurt us. Of course people are going to, at some point, whether or not it's WP Engine's fault, if you hurt me to the point that people have to leave, and then you brag about it,
right?
That's so dumb.
Well, it's dumb. It's
so dumb.
It's going to set you up. It's setting up for that lawsuit to get reparations for that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Yikes! It's a drama that is unfolding in front of us. And to your point, Lydia, one person is calling the shots and it's not being countered by anybody in the board. And I'm saying that without true knowledge of this environment. That's scary. And 40%, if not more, of the sites on the planet are on the WordPress platform. And they have such remote access and control. That's also scary.
Just need to get them all on a couch and have Andy Cohen or whoever, have them just battle it out, man.
Okay. All right. Last article that we want to bring up here that is also something hot off the presses in news from Searching in Journal by Matt Southern. Google may have to sell Chrome browser to comply with DOJ rulings. DOJ demands that Google divest Chrome to break search monopoly. Google actually slamming a proposal as that proposal is radical and harmful to customers. So they're still in the litigation side of things over that particular court case. Found that Google was actually in a monopoly standing. There's still other court cases. One of them is the search ad side of things. But the DOJ is demanding of the judge to be able to have Google sell off Chrome and possibly Android. The case would significantly impact Google's business model. And just unpack this for a second. There's a 23-page brief submitted by the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., outlined extensive measures to dismantle what it claims are Google's illegal monopolies in general search services and search text advertising. So obviously Google responded going, this is freakishly way out of whack on what should actually be any type of penalty or proceeding here. But here's the thing is that what does this mean, actually, that if Google was having to sell off Chrome? I just wanted to expand that for a minute and really understand, what does Chrome, the browser, mean to Google itself, not just from a tool set, but what is the data that Google actually gets from Chrome? There's a lot of ranking signal discussions around user behavior. And we also know from the DOJ documents in the proceedings that they're getting a lot of data from those users in the Chrome browser itself. What are our thoughts here, folks, on this separation here? I think search and that's not an indelible tie, but there's so much user data that they're using to train on AI and train on different user experiences on sites, that they're taking those signals in and using it in their algorithm. There's a lot of discussions about that whenever those leaks came through. And right here is the evidence that DOJ knows what it's doing, because they want to separate that tome of user signals coming through. Lidia, what's your thoughts on this particular argument?
I think there's kind of like 4 aspects to this. One is, what's the connection and how is Google, the search engine, using the data coming from Google Chrome? I would say, is Google a monopoly is another aspect of it. Is it good to break up a monopoly is another aspect of it. And lastly, like, what does this mean for SEOs? In terms of the data that Chrome as a browser and Google as a search engine are sharing, if I make a search and then I click and then I make the same search again and I avoid that result, I'm unsatisfied. So you can tell a lot about the quality of the results based on how much time I spent on the website actively after I've clicked on it, and whether or not it satisfied my needs. If I refine my search, we can understand that it was probably a good enough starting point that has educated me and helped me on to my search journey. But if I repeat my search, it is likely that it didn't help. Or if I just go back with the button on the browser to go back, that I'm unhappy and I'm going in the same direction. And we know that Google has our journey data because we can see it as part of the Chrome browser. They made that update a million years ago where you can continue your user journey. So they group the user journey that you had on that topical level. They can totally tell how you're feeling about that. They can also be using Chrome, and they do use Chrome to understand the actual performance of your website and the actual impact for real life users. There was a talk by Cindy Crum where she hypothesized about whether or not Google was using Chrome as a rendering machine to help them understand JavaScript heavy sites. Those are the information that I think could be shared between one and the other. The other one that I would think about was, if Google is or isn't a monopoly. Well, it's been proven that it is. If you take the proof as the sentencing from the DOJ, but also you can take a look at what they're doing and kind of see it. They own the distribution, they own the information, they own the data. They've become the de facto choice because of their ecosystem. So then we go on to, is it good to break up a monopoly? In theory, yes. Economic theory tells us that it is, that it would encourage competition and improve across the board. If Google loses the advantage of Chrome and Android as a distributor and as a source of data, they should have to work harder to make their product better. And it also gives the opportunities to competitors to make their product better and actually win on features, which should help us all. Then is it actually going to be broken up? Is another aspect that I didn't initially answer. Well, they're gonna contest this, and how many years it's gonna take? 5? I wouldn't count on a breakup or a sale being forced very soon at all. Additionally, what kind of relationship is gonna happen in between the two products once they're split up and sold. I would expect a very tight partnership regardless. And then what does this mean for SEOs, and why do we have feelings about this? If Google needs to change, we need to change. And change is scary and complicated. And we're already pretty damn stressing about the AI overviews and everything that AI is bringing into the table, regaining some of the oomph that has had the market share that has had in the past. So it's just a scary time, and it's normal to have feelings about this. And this is why we care about it. Because otherwise, in theory, this is a good thing. It will likely not happen or not happen very soon anyway. Yeah, we should be feeling positively, but change is scary.
Change is scary. Just to codify the points of what Google Chrome actually pulls out of signals, navigation data, the site you visit, where you visit them, how long you stay, the clickstream data within a page, providing insights into user engagement and website navigation, search queries themselves, page load times, device information, operating system, cookies, identifiers. It affects personal search results, targeted advertising, and website ranking. That's a huge connection between the search ads, the ranking of sites, and understanding the usability. I mean, for Core Web Vitals alone, there's a field test that is explicitly coming from Google Chrome data. So there's a lot. And that's why they created the browser to begin with, to be able to pull in all those signals. And what is search going to be like without Google actually understanding user behavior and be able to incorporate that into its algorithm, into parts of its algorithm, I should say. So that's where SEOs are invested, should be. And if this separation happens, there's going to be other factors that we're going to have to try to figure out as we navigate what Google then shares. But there's a lot of other things that are working inside of, pardon me, inside the Google ecosystem when it comes down to ranking. But it's a big push for the DOJ. You better believe it's going to be appealed. And it's going to be years down the road of seeing whatever happens here. But wanted to have your take on that. That's the final article for the week. We have a couple Berry Blasts. I'll tip into that real quick and briefly here, but I do want to make sure that we reference InLinks. InLinks is a continued sponsor of Edge of the Web. Certainly proud to have them for the long haul here. They're a major player in link distribution and in-link management, but also entity optimization for your websites. Optimizing for keywords is a thing of the past. Knowing what Google's looking for from subject matter expertise and being able to use a tool like InLinks to be able to understand the gaps in your own information and your entities that you're defining inside your site. It's a huge value to be able to utilize software such as InLinks. So if you go over to edgeofthewebradio.com/InLinks, you can claim your free account and you can start looking at the competitive nature of other sites in the rank and what they're talking about, what you're talking about. Look at the discrepancies, and it's a huge win to start using their strategy tools out there. A hat tip to Dixon out there for a continued evolution of this product here. All right, last bit, Berry Blast, and then we'll get out of here. All right, we're doing a 1 minute drill on each one of these. Then we're dropping off. I want to be respectful of Lydia's time.
Good luck.
All right, thank you. So first article from Search Engine Roundtable from Barry Schwartz, November 18th. Google also cautions on using Google, people also ask for content ideas. So there was a caution from John Mueller. John explained it could be tempting to create content liability for your website. List of topics, list of headings, and just fill out the words from a copywriter or a content generator. And what they were talking about is really just bloating your site with PAA content. And that's never what is recommended. In fact, we talked to Mark Williams-Cook this week and actually talked about just that particular comment. And the fact of the matter is, PAA should be guiding what your understanding is of users and be able to answer some questions, but also be able to provide answers to questions that are not in PAA. But what are your thoughts on not using PAA as a de facto guidance for all your content? Evidently, that's what they're really saying there, you know?
It's very obvious, and it can only be a surprise to someone who does web spam rather than SEO. PAAs need to be used to understand your user as part of your user research, not as a list of headings to fill out.
Yeah, Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You should. It's thin content. It always should be strategic and thoughtful. This is crowdsourcing. You're just understanding what Google understands of its audience and what it's wondering about a particular subject matter. So use it for strategy, not for a glut of content on your website. All right. Another article here real quick. I'm actually going to jump into the November 2024 core update. Movement is slow, but some massive movement, says he, and this is on November 14th. The November 2024 core update is rolling out, started November 11th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So far, some sites are seeing some really big movements, says Barry, some like massive movements with their search rankings, but it seems like most SEOs are not noticing big changes across their sites. So we always try to make sure that everybody knows about a core update rolling through. Barry says it's very possible that we're being slow to pick up on these changes, or maybe this update is not hitting that many sites across Google Search Index. And they rolled this out right before Black Friday, right before Cyber Monday, and e-commerce companies probably are white-knuckling right now to be able to see what actually pans through on these very, very focused holiday dates here. So anything that you know about from the November core update that you wanted to share with us?
We haven't really seen an impact so far, but we did see a bunch of volatility right before the update, where what we actually found was that Google seemed to be struggling a little more with localization or understanding our localization signals than it was before. And that's the only thing that I found striking about it.
Oh, cool. Well, that's actually going to be food for thought there, and we want to make sure that our listeners are paying attention to their websites and also don't react negatively, because if something does drop, invariably we do see reversals in these core updates as well. But watch your search rankings, watch your search position and impressions, but we really can't do anything during an update. You have to look at the results afterwards. But Barry and a load of other SEOs, Glenn Gabe and Lily Ray, are all watching these. And we are also seeing correspondingly some HCU comebacks as well as drop-offs as well. So things are sputtering all over the place. So people, don't freak out. Watch carefully what's happening here. And hopefully e-com doesn't get hit sizably in that. I've got one last article, folks, that I want to show to everybody. I didn't even give Lydia the chance, nor did I give Jacob the chance. It's in Slack, Jacob.
Uh-oh.
Check this out. This is freaky. It's actually kind of an AI news bit, but I throw it at the end here. Google's AI chatbot responds with a threatening message. Human, please die. All right, check this out. Now, a college student in Michigan received a threatening response during a chat with Google's AI bot, okay? This is Gemini. It's a back and forth conversation about the challenges and solutions of aging adults. Google's Gemini responded with this threatening message. This is for you, human. You and only you.
Oh, he's in Michigan.
Oh. You are not special, you are not important, and you are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die, please.
And then he continued, go Bucks.
What the crap? I am not kidding. This thing.
I-O.
That's just bananas.
Yeah.
Right? It feels science fiction-y, but like for us to attribute to this anything other than we have to project some sentience on the AI, which we have no proof of it being there. But still so unsettling. And
very much so.
I thought someone has messed with this chat, but the link to the actual chat is shared, and you can see that there wasn't really anything dodgy in the prompt. But also, that's a very good roast from Gemini. Like, you're a blight on the landscape? Okay, here? Like, what a way to tell me to, like...
Yeah. They were very freaked out whenever they got this prompt. I'm wondering, okay, was this keyed up? Was this fed by a Reddit post, something like that, that it was a particular string of inquiry that it would have pulled in something that somebody had already planted, right, to be able to create that? We have no idea, but my gosh, Google states that Gemini has safety filters to prevent chatbots from engaging in disrespectful, sexual, violent, or dangerous discussions and encouraging harmful acts. Guess that filter got bypassed, folks. Yep. So every once in a while, we see what the AI and the bots are actually thinking about us, right?
Yeah.
So we were actually talking about this on a meeting where we had an AI note taker, and then another AI note taker took place. And I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about this, and started talking about this story to those other AI note takers. I want to see what they had to think. Anyway, something funny at the end of this. It's always creepy whenever something like this comes out of the woodwork. But with that note, we hope that is an anomaly, that it won't particularly post in that perch and start talking about who's a blight to the planet. Because we had plenty of that during the political season, right?
Yeah. Dear Gemini, can you recommend a therapist?
All right. Any final words for our audience today, Lydia? Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me. It is always so lovely. I love your podcast.
Oh,
And
thank
you and
you.
your team are just...
Oh, see, that's why she's one of our favorites. Thank you so much. Hey, congratulations on the baby that's soon to come, and certainly going to want to have some pictures whenever you're ready. Thanks for joining us before that happens, because we had a small window here, but we really wanted to reach out and connect with you.
No.
And you did not go into labor during the recording, and that was one of our biggest fears. So thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That's it for the Edge this week. Make sure that you check out the Brittany Mueller second interview as we talk about AI chat engineering, and hopefully we don't engineer blight words or things like that into prompts anymore. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we're posting out different videos from our shows each and every week. From all of us over the Edge, we'd love to have a review. Go over to ratethispodcast.com/Edge today and leave us a 5-star if you would. We'd certainly appreciate the feedback, and let us know what you liked and didn't like, right? We'd certainly appreciate that. But from all of us over the Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.